Good morning, my name is Yoni Levoritz and I'm from the Levoritz Law Firm. I'm making this video today for educational purposes only and not to form an attorney-client relationship. Today's topic is how and when to file a notice of appeal. So, to file a notice of appeal, you can find this form online, you can find it at your lawyer's office, your lawyer certainly has it available. And the notice of appeal basically states that you want to have the higher court, the appellate division, review the order from the court below. That could be because there are errors of fact or because there are errors of law. You also have to file an appellate division information statement. And that information statement has to state what you're appealing. You're not bound by it. It's not a jurisdictional document. But you should still list off as many issues as possible that have to do with when and what you're appealing and the substance of what you're appealing. What I would recommend is, in terms of the when to file an appeal, is to look at the actual order itself. If the order itself is highly prejudicial to you, then you should definitely file the appeal and file the notice of appeal. And you should perfect the appeal, meaning file the brief and file the record as soon as possible. These are extremely important procedural steps. First, the notice of appeal along with the information statement, and then the actual appeal itself, which would consist of the record on appeal and the brief on appeal. One thing that you may want to consider is the when to file the appeal. If you file an appeal from, say, a pendente lite order, an order which regards initial support in Supreme Court, you may want to go ahead and think twice before appealing it, because if you appeal an order and that order is not perfected, meaning you file the notice of appeal, you file the information statement, but you do not brief it and do not perfect the appeal, then you're putting yourself in a position where you may be barred at a future date from raising the issues on that appeal. There is case law to that effect. So you have to be careful when you're filing a notice of appeal. But I'll give you an example as to when you should file a notice of appeal. You get slammed on an initial order of support. The initial order of support is so high you can't possibly pay it. You have no funds and no resources to pay it. Then you should be running to the appellate court and you should be filing your notice of appeal, your statement of appellate division information, and then brief the appeal and perfect the appeal as quickly as possible. Do not let it linger. Do not let it seem as if you're in a position to pay the order. Also, the optics of the matter is important, because if you're in a position where you have to go ahead and perfect the appeal, then you have to go ahead and understand that the other side may be looking for a chance to move to hold you in contempt for the failure to pay the money under the appeal. For example, spousal support or child support. The child support was so high it was irrational, but you want to go ahead and you want to file as soon as possible before they file for contempt, because you may have to move for an order to stay the actual underlying order of support and move for what's called an appellate division stay based upon the fact that you're on the verge of being incarcerated. There are a lot of nuances to this process, but the bottom line is, don't file an appeal unless you're sure you're going to perfect it. That's number one. And number two, don't file a notice of appeal from a non-final order of the family court. Seek permission. If it's an order of the family court that's final, say on the issue of counsel fees, custody, visitation, child support, you only have 35 days or 30 days from the time that you get the order. Therefore, you want to go ahead and perfect that appeal as quickly as possible. And you want to file your notice of appeal as quickly as possible. Even though you typically have 6 months to perfect, you don't want to wait that time. You want to get your brief out and your information out as soon as possible so that the process before the appellate division can start. I want to thank you for spending your time with me today, And should you have any questions, please feel free to contact the Levoritz Law Firm at any time. Once again, Yoni Levoritz from the Levoritz Law Firm, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Take care.